Good morning, everyone around the world. Dr. T here. I am in sunny San Diego. No longer June gloom, it is July. Happy 4th of July to all you Americans. Enjoy my morning coffee. I am in North Park, San Diego, reporting to you in my backyard. Actually, it's a side yard. So hopefully you guys all had a great weekend and a week so far. I've had some family in town and a very hungry newborn to take care of, and a friend of mine from Austria in town visiting. One of my internships for PT school was in Austria. Really, really rough. I more or less learned how to snowboard really well out there because there's endless mountains, but the son of the guy that I worked for is visiting us right now, so we've got a full house. Anyway, hopefully you guys all had a restful 4th of July, didn't party too hard, got some rest, and I can't say my sleeping is amazing at the moment with a newborn, but for all you parents out there who can relate, I'm going to be talking about ways to lift your child. I don't have my child as an example right now, but I'm going to show you some things today. So I'm going to be doing this every other Wednesday, and I want to make sure that you're being heard, your questions are being heard, especially on the medical side. If you don't feel like you're getting the answers you need from your doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, or want more information of explanation about things, that's what I'm here for. If I do not know the answer, that's why I like to ask ahead of time, so I can do some research if I don't know the answer. But let's say one of you come on during the session and I don't know, I will find out. I have a lot of great colleagues in the medical field. But I'm also a strength coach, strength and conditioning specialist. I work with the adaptive athletes. I move a lot myself, so if you guys have questions about fitness as well, this is a time to ask. I will explain a little bit at the end our low back fix program and the benefits of it from my perspective as a physio and medical practitioner. So with that being said, let's get this party started. We have two major questions today that I'm going to cover. And the first one is about proper breathing during exercise versus just breathing for decreasing anxiety throughout the day. So the breathing techniques I teach in the program, and then for decreasing anxiety, finding your calm during the day, ways that you should breathe no matter what during the day is called the diaphragmatic breathing, where if you put your hand on your chest right now and hand on your belly, you're breathing into the belly first, filling the belly up with as much air as possible, actually trying to expand front to back, breathing into the belly and back as much as possible, then the chest, but expanding this way, back to front and side versus up. So that is a way I want everyone to be breathing throughout their day, is expanding into the low back and the belly, then the chest, expanding out to the sides, front to back, and then breathing out. And the breathing out is more of a relaxation piece. The breathing in has to be more conscious, like, okay, breathe into my belly first, then my chest. If with you guys with kids, if you look at babies, they breathe pretty well through their belly. So that's the first, that's more of the relaxation throughout the day. But let's say you get into a workout and you are doing pause squats, tempo squats, where you're descending for 3 seconds, holding the bottom for 5 seconds, exploding up, holding the top for 1 second. All right, so with performance type breathing, it's very similar. You just don't breathe into your belly as much. You're not trying to blow out the belly or back as much. And when I mean blow out, I mean filling up. So when you do a performance breath, it's still, so let's say you're going into a squat, for example. So breathing in through your nose is the easiest way to fill up the belly. So what I would do, instead of breathing in nice and large into my belly, I'm going to breathe in about 50% of that. So I'm going to breathe in, so notice, instead of breathing in long inhale, I'm going to breathe in more short inhale and fill up my belly about 50%. Now I'm still in that neutral spinal position. I'm still filling up my back, but it's not a long, slow inhale. It's a hold, go down into my squat, come back up. As I come back up, I'm breathing out. The moment I start to ascend, for those of you that are new to lifting, the moment you start to ascend, come back up, you want to start breathing out. And the best way to do that is to do a long, slow exhale. It's so it's essentially breathe in, hold, go down into your squat, on the way up. So that's how you want to roll doing performance breathing. So again, when you're doing for relaxation, it's a breathe in, expand the belly, low back, right? You're not really necessarily tensing your abs during this session. Breathing in the belly, then the chest, expanding this way. Doing a nice slow exhale. Not worrying about pursed lip breathing yet, or breathing out through your teeth, so to speak. It's just relaxing. Right, during the day you don't need to be doing that. But when you do performance breathing, now you're going to try to create intra-abdominal pressure. Same concept applies, just a little less aggressive, little less fill up of air. So it's going to be through the nose, fill up the belly, then the chest. Quick, hold, tense down those abs. Okay? Then, so it's belly, filling up the chest, slightly, about 50%. Go down to the squat. Breathe out as you come up. Some of you can hold your breath all the way to the top. If you're doing a tempo, it would be, so it's 1, 2, 3. Hold the bottom for 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out at the top. So for those of you that aren't used to holding your breath, you can start breathing out. So at the bottom of your squat, if you're feeling like, oh, you're going to pass out, you're getting dizzy, what you can do at the bottom of the squat is breathe out, come back up, or breathe out, breathe in again, hold the rest of the pause squat, and then come back up. I would challenge you though, 8 seconds of breathing out and coming back up, or breathing out, going down into the squat 3 seconds, holding the bottom for 5 seconds, coming back up. 8 seconds is enough time to be able to hold that breath in the belly. Again, if you're having trouble with that, go ahead and breathe out quickly at the bottom, breathe back in. That's totally fine, especially if you're under submaximal load or just body weight. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you guys have any more questions about that, please ask. But air squat, so you've got the pause squat. It's a little bit slower, more controlled. The point is to really pay attention to where you're missing strength at different ranges in your squat. So it's not like you're just going really fast, but we use the breath to slow us down. We use the breath to help create control. So everything in my movement practice is revolved around the breath. So I cater my breathing. I can speed up my breathing. I can slow it down. The main thing is with breath holding, right, you're holding in CO2. So you breathe in the oxygen, you're holding in CO2, you're not expelling it right away. So that's where you can feel a little lightheaded. So if you have to, start breathing out at the bottom of your pause squat through your teeth or through your lips. Make a snake sound. Whatever you want to do, make some kind of sound. Do it nice and slow so you start getting rid of that CO2. But I challenge you to start building up time with a little bit of breath hold. Don't have to do anything more than 10 seconds. We require right now 8 seconds of descending, holding the bottom, coming back up. So see if you can build up to that. But if you're really struggling with that, one of the questions, I think it was one of the individuals in our low back fix program, just start breathing out at the bottom and come back up, or breathe out, breathe in again, go back up. Okay, so air squats. the way I would do this, it's like I said, I control my movement around my breath. So I want to make sure I'm in control of my breathing, right? If it's not a Metcon of some sort, or I'm not doing a conditioning section, if this isn't a conditioning section, like, I can very much control my breathing. So if I'm doing air squats, what I'm doing is this. So it's a down and up movement, right? Relatively fast. So what I'm going to do is breathe in, come down. So I breathe in at the top, descent, breathe out. Breathe in, descent, breathe out. So it takes some skill. So I'm breathing in at the top, breathing out, coming up. So I'm doing this more faster belly breathing technique. But again, I'm controlling my movement around the breath versus falling out of control. And that way, I'm going to become more efficient as I go through the workout. Let's say you are in a Metcon. There are going to be times where you just aren't going to be able to get a lot of air in, right? But that's the point. So the point is that you're practicing the good movement before, during the warm-up, during the workout. You're practicing the good belly breathing. So when you get into the Metcon, you're going to be that much more efficient. So I would challenge you to control your breath as much as possible. That'll help relax tissue. That'll help you, when you have to perform, you will perform. When you can relax, you can relax. So oftentimes our body is under tension the entire time because of our lack of control of breathing. And we're breathing. So this is going to happen because you're going to be out of breath. But the more you can control your breath in the practice section, strength session, warm-up session, into the Metcon or conditioning section, the better you'll be. So the point of the down regulation breath technique with the 90-90 we do is to help you practice, right? It's help you practice the relaxation aspect of breathing that you're going to do 23 hours a day outside of training. When you get into training, follow my example from the beginning of this video. You breathe in a little bit faster. It's almost like you're feeling it about 50, feels like you're feeling it 50%, but you're actually feeling it more than that. Tightening those abs, going through the movement, breathing out on the ascent, especially in the squat, or on the exertion. So some of you are more advanced lifters, movers, so you might hold your breath through the entire movement, but that takes training. So for those of you who are new, I don't recommend that. Okay. So one of the individuals who asked about back hurting in the morning. Why does my back hurt in the morning? Well, I wouldn't necessarily, so sometimes the reason why the back hurts in the morning is just you might be a stiffer individual in general, or maybe there's lack of stability in that low back area. So when you've been staying in one position, so think about it, if you've been staying in one position all night, like laying on your side or laying on your back, and you get up to move, you feel really stiff, right? That you're requiring movement now, or you've been stiff holding one position all night. So your back is basically telling you, okay, well, you need to warm me up before you do any movement or repetitive movement throughout the day. The other thing is people feel is like when they sit for a long time, it's very similar. Like when I sit for a long time and then I go to move, my back hurts. When I stand for a long period of time, my back hurts. Well, the thing is, we're not designed to be in necessarily one position all the time, especially during the day, sitting and standing. We're not designed to sit all the time. We're not designed to stand all the time. We're designed to move consistently. So whether you stand, I would choose to stand the majority of your day. You want to move consistently still, even if you're standing. If you have to sit a lot of your day, make sure you get up every 25 minutes. When you're sleeping, that's a different story, right? You're in one position. The best position for your spine is on your back with a little pillow under your knees. The next position is on your side with a pillow between your knees, making sure your spine is all lined up so that pillow on your head isn't, you're not cranked to one side or the side. One of Kelly Starrett's, my colleague up in San Francisco, the way he tests the mattress is worthy. You lay on your back, cross your legs. If you have to move within 3 minutes, probably not the best mattress for you. you should be able to cross your legs, hang out in that laying back on your back position for at least 3 minutes. So check it out. I definitely got a new bed recently because I had one. I still had my queen size bed that I purchased in the Marine Corps up until about a year ago. It was fine. It's a Zen bed, but not so comfortable. I did the mattress test a couple different times. Definitely time for a new bed. So, but regardless of the mattress, regardless of how you sleep, right, you're going to be more sedentary and in one position when you sleep. So when you get up and let's say, your back feels stiff, or it feels maybe unstable. So let's kind of do a play-by-play of what you can do when you wake up. The reasons why some of that happened is because you haven't fixed the problem or the cause of your low back issue, whether it's degenerative joint, maybe a bulge disc that's like activated or like flared up a little bit, or it could be a number of different things. Like, I don't necessarily want to focus on the diagnosis, right? You could just have a stiff back and no diagnosis, right? And you can wake up and your back is like, wow, this is really uncomfortable. But definitely differentiate in your mind between pain and stiffness, aching and pain, right? Like, pain is ouch, sharp, this is sketchy, this doesn't feel right, like this is something I need to get checked out, versus this feels uncomfortable, I feel stiff, I need to move. I think it's really important in your brain to start to differentiating between the two different feelings, because pain is different than soreness, pain is different than stiffness. Pain is like, ouch, your brain telling your body there's a threat, don't move, stop what you're doing. Most of the time when people feel discomfort in the morning, it's just stiff, it's discomfort, like you don't move as easily as you do during the day. So make sure in your brain you start to differentiate that, because if you differentiate every kind of soreness, aching, this is uncomfortable as pain, your brain's going to start to believe that, believe it or not. So when you wake up in the morning, most likely there is a discomfort, there's a stiffness for a lot of you with old back injuries. Well, what you want to do when you wake up, first thing you want to do is actually get out of bed, stand up, and let's do this together. So you can see my pelvis. Put your hands on your hips and start to shift your hips side to side, just like this. All right, so I'm going to give you some tactics on what to do. These are nice things for your spine. So notice I'm pushing my hips to the side. I'm not bending this way. When I'm bending this way, I'm getting a lot of movement from my low back, right? I want to get movement from my hips, side to side. All right, so you're going to do that 20 times each side. Then what I want you to do is go ahead and sit those hips back like you're in a hinge position. Push those hips back, bring your arms over your head, or bring your arms over your chest like this. So I'm going to be, let me move so if I'm here and I'm pushing my hips back, my back is staying straight, arms are out in front. I'm driving my arms over my head as I draw my ribs down. So I'm drawing my ribs down as I draw my arms overhead, as I'm sitting back like I am going to be on a dirty toilet. And I'm going to hang out here for 20 seconds. Stand back up, shift my hips side to side, 20 reps each side. I really hope my neighbors are looking right now. This would be awesome. I think they all could use this. 20 reps side to side. Then I'm going to sit back, sit my hips back like I'm going to sit on a dirty toilet. No squatting, it's a hinging motion. Back is flat. Arms are drawing overhead. Drawing my ribs down as I bring my arms overhead. Hold. I should feel a lot of tension in this rear of mine, and I do, in my butt. Hamstrings. Hold this 20 seconds. Stand back up. Shift my hips side to side. Okay? So those are things that you can do first thing in the morning to get your spine moving. Let's add a little bit of layer to that. Let's say you're like, well, that's great, that feels good, what else can I do? So the other thing you can do, sitting those hips back in a hinge position, reach one arm down, reach one arm up, get a nice twisting motion, hold 20 seconds, come down, twist the other side, hold 20 seconds, stand back up, shift your hips side to side. Again, shift your hips back, reach up, hold 20 seconds, hold 20 seconds, come back up. That whole 20 seconds you're holding, you're getting a nice posterior chain, even some quad activation. The posterior chain, I mean glutes, hams, and you're firing up, so you're getting a nice relative thoracic extension as you pull your ribs down. So it's a nice stretch all throughout your spine. It's a little bit of decompression as well. It's a decompression movement. One of my friends, colleagues, Dr. Eric Goodman, who founded Foundation Training, is a big proponent of hinge positions, learning the good hinge position, decompressing the spine that way. So that's some things you can do. Another thing you can do is letting yourself bend over and touch your toes multiple times. All right, so we've got that hinge relative extension position in our thoracic spine. What you can also do, and let's just give you a protocol of, let's do that for 4 minutes straight. So alternating between hip hinges side to side with a little bit of extension holds, with a little bit of rotation if you want. Don't be scared of the rotation. The nice thing about this, you're not going to hurt your low back doing this, especially if you set those hips way back and feel that tension in that posterior chain. What you're doing is blocking that low back, so when you do rotate, that's coming from your thoracic and your neck, which is where the rotation should come from, not your low back. All you golfers know that. All right, so the second thing after doing something like that for 4 minutes, right when you wake up, is bend over and touching your toes multiple times. So if you're someone, I would only recommend this for someone who is limited in toe touch, like they can't bend over and touch their toes, or they can just touch their toes, versus someone who can like palm the ground. For someone who can like palm the ground, or someone who's limited in flexion, bending over and touching your toes, do the previous exercise I just told you. For both people, whether you're mobile or immobile, hypermobile, hypomobile, do what I just said. For those of you that are limited in range, this is something you can do as well. So there's a couple options. So feet hip width apart, bend over, touch your toes, 15 reps, okay? 15 reps doing that for a couple minutes. Do 15 reps, rest, do 15 reps again, rest. That's also going to warm up your spine. What I want to see when you bend over, because we need to have flexion. Flexion is good for our spine. We need to have extension. We need to have rotation. We need to have side bending. Flexion is one of the key missing global movement patterns of the spine that we see often, especially in the clinic. So what you're going to do is when you bend over and touch your toes, think about shifting your hips back versus just bending over at your low back. Notice I'm shifting my hips back and bending over versus going straight down, okay? So I'm shifting my hips back, legs are straight, touching my toes, okay? If you want to add one more layer to that, we're getting into layers today. Onions, layers, cake layers, whatever analogy you want to use. I like cake. You're going to roll down and up one segment at a time. So instead of just bending over, shifting your hips back, if you want to get a little creative, something we do on the program that helps you with dissociation of the spinal segments, moving one segment at a time, we bend over one vertebrae at a time. So standing up, I'm going to start with you can't see my neck here. Actually, let me really jacking this up. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I look like a giant here. Tuck my chin, start rolling down my upper back like Frankenstein, one segment at a time. Roll. Notice my hips are shifting back at the same time. I'm not just bending over at my waist, but I'm thinking one vertebrae at a time as I roll down, touch my toes, or as far as I can go with my legs locked out, and then as I come up, I'm rolling up, starting with my pelvis. So one segment at a time. Now, to get into breath with this stuff, so I breathe in. I'm breathing in and out the whole time because this is a longer movement. So I'm breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. I'm still breathing in through my belly, okay? So as I breathe into my belly and breathe out, it's a little bit faster. It's not a performance breathing technique, but I'm just letting myself breathe versus holding my breath for that entire movement. Does anyone have any questions about those two things I just talked about? So breath with performance, and then when you wake up in the morning. You wake up in the morning stiff because you are in one position the whole night. So it is a deloaded position. It's especially if you're on your back or on your side. Those are the two best positions for the spine, but you're still in one position. So your spine needs movement. And if you've had an injury before, right, you've had probably some guarding going on, some stiffness that's created overnight. And if you haven't done consistent mobility or things to retrain your spine to be a healthy mover, move healthy, then yeah, every morning you wake up, it's going to stiffen. It's going to be stiff because it's like, all right, I want to guard my low back. I got to protect it for the day. Whereas you now have to retrain your body to move, get movement. So the spine feels more lubricated, feels more mobile, feels more stable. So your brain is like, all right, actually, I don't need to guard as much. You know what you're doing. I can actually start to decrease the stiffness. But to change that tissue over time, it takes about 7 months to a year, depending on how old you are and how long you've had this issue. So you can't just do this once a week or for, let's say, 8 weeks and expect, oh, my tissues are awesome, like they're healed, I'm good to go. Like, these are skills you need to learn and keep with this for a long time. So again, morning routine, I gave you some options of what you can do. Tell me how you do. Do this for the next 2 weeks at least. 21 days to build a new habit, right? Do this, that 4-minute wake up, hinge, rotate, side to side hip shifts, and then also do the toe touch if you're someone who can't touch your toes. Do that for a couple minutes. You got a 6-minute routine right there. Tell us how you do. You could do it in the shower. I'm not recommending that, especially if you don't have like things for your feet and it's slippery in your shower. But that's also a nice area to do something like this because it's warm. You want to soak in a hot tub if you got access to that, or a steam room. Do that before you do all this. Awesome, because then your tissues are a little bit warm. Not that hopefully you're wearing blankets at bed, going to bed if you're, living in a cold area. If you're in San Diego and you use a fan or an air conditioner, right? You're going to be warm when you wake up, but if you want to pop in the shower and do this stuff, you can do it. Just make sure you have a grip area for your feet. Picking up kids in the crib. So that I get, like, picking up my son in the middle of the night to feed him is like, and he's now 18 pounds. It's tough. Like, he is a load. So I definitely have to keep in mind my spinal position when I do that. And the position I just showed you with hinging your hips back, right? You're loading your posterior chain quite a bit. I'm not necessarily in a squat. I'm more in a deadlift position, hinging my hips back. This is how I pick him up. So I know that I'm loading my posterior chain a lot more than my low back. If I were just to bend over, which I've done a couple times, where I just bend over and pick him up, that's all strain here in my low back versus hinging my hips back as far as I can and then picking him up. It takes a matter of a second to remember that. Just hinge those hips back, get tension in that hamstring and posterior chain, pick him up. You'll feel a lot stronger anyway, and it won't feel it in your low back. Hopefully that helps. Let's see, questions. We've got, when you're doing the move, your hip side to side in the morning, you said don't do something that, what was that? I know that's non-descriptive. Okay, thanks, Molly. So, in the morning, the key is to get up and do something. It's not to do nothing. So, because you've been in a sedentary position. So, hip side to side is going to open up. So, I remember what I said. So, when you're moving your hip side to side, notice I have to move to explain this well. when you're moving your hips side to side, it's via the hips, not the low back. So this is what it looks like. To do it right, this is what it looks like a hula dancer. But a hula dancer is doing this. You can totally do that if you want. If you want to circle your hips around, that's totally fine. I like just simple side bending. So what I'm doing is I'm getting side bending via my hips. I'm getting side bending in my low back, but the movement is via my hips. When I hinge backwards, it's via my hips, not my low back, right? I'm not initiating any movement with my low back. This is what it looks like to do it wrong. So I'm doing this. Notice I'm having very little hip movement. To bend over to do it wrong, to pick up a kid, I'm bending over just via my low back. So you see there's very little hinging backwards for me. Versus really driving my hips back, keeping my back straight to pick a kid up, or shifting my hips side to side via my hips, not my low back. Does that make sense? Awesome. All right, so Molly, do we have any other questions? I can't see if we do on here on my phone. I will be on just a couple more minutes, you guys. So, our low back program. Low back problems in our country are pretty rampant. We all know that. Thanks, Molly. Okay, cool. So I'll wrap it up now. For all of you guys listening or who are going to listen to this, so most adults have experienced low back pain. A lot of low back pain can be solved quickly with just resting for a couple days, you know, especially if it was a major tweak. But what happens is people often do have recurring back injuries. Like they tweak their back once and they tweak it again, and they've never really fixed the movement pattern of why they never fixed the cause. So the first time it might resolve quickly, but the second, third, fourth time, these things keep popping back up. Same thing keeps happening, and now it becomes worse and worse and worse. So what Coach Anders and I have designed is this low back fix program. And what is it? So it's a prehab, rehab-based program and fitness-based program. So it's teaching you movement, right? I'm not going to sit here and diagnose you. I'm not going to, I do care about your diagnosis, but the diagnosis isn't going to help you heal. It's going to help me, you know, it'll help me differentiate if you're worthy of the program or not. But I can figure that out via the assessment. So a lot of you guys who've been on the program, you take the assessment, your score will determine, are you viable for this program or not? Are you able to do it? Or is it something like you should really see someone in person? We are not diagnosing you. We're simply showing you via your own body what movements are limited for you. Because your diagnosis and what happened to you didn't just happen overnight. Some of you had trauma, for sure. But a lot of these things don't just happen overnight. They happen from poor postures, poor movement, all of a sudden, bam, pain. All right, we have to fix that. We have to retrain your body so your brain isn't perceiving a threat every time you get up and stand or sit or move. We don't want your body to be under threat all the time. So we designed this program to be something that's more customized to you based on your assessment. It's as customized as it can be on a virtual basis. Very researched ways of assessing you. We take you through the assessment through video, written content, and then it takes you less than 5 minutes to do it, test yourself, and then we put you down a program, a stability program or a mobility program, a little woven together sometimes based on how you assess, and then followed up with a movement practice. So every day of the program, whether you do 3 days a week or 4 days a week, you do at least 15 to 20 minutes of stability or specific mobility drills to help improve positions for you and for your body. If you're someone who's super mobile, you don't need to stretch more. Wow, my cat just flew by, Dexter. If you're someone who's more immobile, you can't touch your toes, doesn't rotate equally side to side, we've got some work to do on that. And so we provide you techniques to do that. And then the other 45 minutes of those 3 to 4 days a week, you are doing movement-based stuff. You're working on hinging, you're working on pushing, you're working on pulling, you're working on squatting, you're working on carrying. We're human beings. We do those 5 things, and we do them on one leg oftentimes because we're walking. We walk on 2 legs, but oftentimes we're in a single leg stance, right? We have to push things. We have to pick up our kids. We have to hinge. We have to carry things. This is Dexter. He's nuts, absolutely nuts, but he's awesome. You want to be part of this today. So we are working, it is a movement practice that we're teaching you. The first, so 8 weeks is the low back fix program, and then you can be put on this generalized fitness kind of lifestyle integration program to keep you healthy, right? You will feel better after 8 weeks if you're someone in low back pain and you take the assessment and you're like, all right, I can do this. I scored enough where I don't have to go see someone in person. I can do this. You will make a huge change in 8 weeks. Sometimes you will be completely pain-free, but we need to look at your function. Your function will be improved by 8 weeks. But remember what I said, it takes 7 months to a year for tissue to change. So we provided you with a year of educational content, and you're going to be learning while you're moving. And that takes 4 hours of your week. 3 to 4 hours, depending on what type of program you want to be on or you have time for. So with that being said, you guys, any questions you have, this is a program that, so for myself as a PT, I enjoy working with people in person, but as a movement specialist, I know that I can help people across the country with teaching them skills through written content, video, so they can do stuff on their own. Like, that is the key, is I don't want to build a practice of people coming back to see me or having people to go see a doctor to see me. Like, you can help yourselves heal. Your bodies are very intuitive, and I just want to show you how. Coach Anders and I want to show you how. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a good one. Where'd you go, Dexter? Do you have anything to say? No, he's just keeping a watch of the neighborhood. All right, you guys, have a good one. Come visit or not. Just say hello on social media. Talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, yeah, thank you, Molly. So if you want to find your low back fix score, Molly just posted a link here. Right, so you'll see it. It's under the low back fix made a comment. There's a low back fix score you can take. See where you're at. If you have any questions about that, please ask. But that's a really good way to tell, like, is this a program for you or not? And then from there, you can take your assessment and get started. Get this party started now. We're here to help you. And we're here on this journey with you. You got a PT strength coach, and you got a strength coach here as a guide. And if you are part of the program, you're going to be part of our cool online program where we've got lots of health professionals, people on the program, very talented people on the program who can also help answer questions for you. All right, take care, you guys. Bye.